and I gained 80 followers on one post simply by using that hashtag. Hey everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to use Instagram hashtags effectively in 2019. I don't like long intros, so I'm just going to get right into it. In order to trend on hashtags, you have to use less competitive hashtags, meaning you have to use hashtags that have fewer amount of posts using that certain hashtag. So for example, let's just say you're in the women's fashion niche and you search up women's style. Women's style has 3.8 million posts, so that's a really competitive hashtag. But if you type in women's fashion style, that has 15.9 thousand posts. So that's a really great hashtag to use because it's not as competitive. Depending on your following size and depending on the amount of engagement you get per post, if you have a small amount of followers and small amount of engagement, you want to be using less competitive hashtags. So that hashtag, for example, that has 15,000 posts, that's a really small hashtag, and that is one hashtag that you should target. You want to be mixing up the size of the hashtags that you use, but if you are a smaller account, you want to be using majority of the smaller hashtags. So let's just say you have about 5,000 followers on Instagram. You want to be using hashtags around 10,000, maybe even less posts using that certain hashtag. You also want to be using medium-sized hashtags, say around 50 to 100,000 posts. You also want to be using a little bit of the larger hashtags, so around 100 to 200,000 posts. That is a particular pattern that you want to have if you have a smaller account. In order to find out if you're trending on hashtags, all you have to do is look at your insights. All you need is a business profile, it's completely free, and you click on view insights, swipe up, and you're able to see where your traffic is coming from. Another way to see if you're trending on a hashtag is to watch your posts within the first hour of you posting. You want to click into those hashtags and see if you're one of the top posts. If you show up on the top post page, this means that you are trending for that specific hashtag. This brings me to my next tip, which is to keep track of the hashtags that you're trending on. You want to make a list somewhere on your phone or in a Google Doc, and you always want to make note of which hashtags you are trending on. This will allow you to identify which hashtags is best for your account. And of course, you want to be recycling those hashtags. For those hashtags that you didn't trend on, you also want to make note of that so you don't use them in the future. So what I like to do, I like to have different groups of hashtags for different kind of topics, because you also want to be switching up your hashtags in order to prevent being shadow banned. If you're not switching up your hashtags and you're constantly copying and pasting, Instagram will kind of identify that as a spammy behavior, and Instagram doesn't favor that, so it might hurt your account. In order to find the best hashtags for your page, it's going to take trial and error. You want to be testing them out and constantly changing them to find which hashtags work best for you. Tip number 3 is all about how to find those hashtags. You can use apps. Of course, there's an app for everything. You can use apps to find hashtags and filter those hashtags by the number of posts, or you can filter them by niche and generate related hashtags. So there are many apps, but the ones that I've seen that have worked the best are Flick and Later. I know Flick is a paid service, and I believe you have to upgrade to a paid service in Later as well to generate those hashtags. But the free version of how to find those hashtags is simply by typing it in to your Instagram. Let's just say you're in the fitness niche. Let's do fitness girls worldwide. So that has 10.5 thousand posts, which is really good. It's less competitive. And at the top there, you can see it says related hashtags. Fitness girl motivation, 91,000 posts, so that's really great. So that's one way to find a hashtag. It's simply by typing it in, and it'll be in the related section above. The fourth tip that I have for you, and it's also the second way of how to find hashtags, is to simply look on your explore page, and there are suggested hashtags for you to use. So if you're in a fitness niche, all you have to do is click on the fitness category above, and then you can see here that glute activation is a suggested hashtag. So those are the hashtags that you want to be using, because Instagram is suggesting those hashtags probably for a good reason, so you should probably take advantage by using them. The next hashtag tip that I have for you will help you increase story views. So if you didn't know, you're able to put hashtags in your stories. And if you don't want it looking messy in your stories, you can easily hide them by making them really small and putting them behind a text or putting them in the bottom right hand corner. You can hide them behind text like so. So the reason why that helps you increase story views is because when you're using those hashtags in your stories, you're actually able to show up on the hashtag feed. So in the top left hand corner, you can see that there are stories there. And these are the stories that are featuring other people that have used the hashtag in that story. So you really want to take advantage of that because increasing story views is probably one of the most important things on Instagram. The stories are the most effective way to sell on Instagram or to broadcast a message. Another way to find hashtags is to go to the top posts in your niche. So let's just say you have a food page and you type in foodie and foodiegram pops up. So you want to go to the very top post. There's a picture of pasta here, so you want to be looking at the hashtags that they use. And the reason why this method is so effective is because these are the posts that are already trending, so you're able to steal the hashtags that those posts are using. And if you're in a similar niche, you're probably more likely going to be trending on those hashtags as well. But going back to my first tip, you also want to be paying attention to how many followers that account has, because those hashtags might work for that account, but it might not work for yours depending on your follower base. And keep in mind that everyone's page is different. Even though you're using the same hashtags as an account that has the same number of followers as you, those hashtags might not work for your account because everyone's account is different. The sixth tip is a little bit more trickier, but you want to be going to a top Instagrammer's page that is growing relatively fast, and you want to be analyzing the hashtags that they use, because most of the time they're more likely to know the Instagram game a lot better than you, and you want to be using hashtags that are trending. So one example is the world record egg that got more likes than Kylie's post. The hashtags that were trending around that post were egg soldiers or world record egg or something along those lines. And so I saw that opportunity, and I saw that from a top Instagrammer's post, and I used it on my hashtags, and my impressions spiked so much, and I gained 80 followers on one post simply by using that hashtag. A lot of times in pop culture, there's usually a hashtag that's currently trending. There was also the bird box hashtag, bird box challenge hashtag that I didn't even know about, but I decided to make my own challenge, and then I found out that it was actually a trending hashtag, so I was able to gain followers through that post. But if you're like me and you don't really keep up with pop culture, you kind of have to analyze the Instagrammers who are always trending. So one example is Ashley Nocera. She's really good at keeping up with those trending hashtags. She creates a lot of Musical.ly content, which tends to go viral because Musical.ly is an app that is used more for the younger audience. The younger audience is the type of audience that actually engages with the posts. If you notice all the top Instagram influencers, the majority of the audience are 13 to 18-year-olds, and they're the type of audience that actually likes and comments on Instagram, and they're more likely to be on Instagram more often. So that is why a lot of top Instagram influencers blow up, because they are tailored towards the younger audience who are constantly engaging in their posts and constantly on the Instagram app. The last tip I have for you is to engage with the most recent posts on a particular hashtag, and you want to be engaging with the most recent posts opposed to the top posts, because a lot of the top posts already have a lot of engagement and they're more likely to not have active followers using the app and engaging on those hashtags. So if you're engaging with the most recent post on a particular hashtag, you're more likely to show up on someone's notification, and they're more likely to be on the phone at that particular time. So they're more likely going to check out your profile and engage with your photos and return the favor. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to learn more Instagram tips, feel free to check out my Instagram as I post daily tips on my stories and in my captions, and feel free to join my Facebook group where I answer all your questions as well.